Um,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
what would be helpful? Like,
yeah,
where are you?
I maybe why you haven't seen me for a while is I'm 7 months pregnant. And so yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah, so this is my second child. And yeah, like last time we talked, I could not get the idea of starting a second business out of my head
Mm-hmm.
and tried that. So okay, I have a lot of like maternity leave questions, but also want to kind of like lay out the journey I've been on.
Yeah.
Started this online business mostly like through Instagram trying to like sell digital products, ebooks.
Mm-hmm.
And I really neglected marketing for my therapy business.
Mm-hmm.
So like my therapy practice was in a great place, but then I just kind of neglected it.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the summer, I had a lot of kids graduate from my caseload, and I found I was pregnant. I felt sick and miserable and just like didn't bring in more clients.
Mm-hmm.
So in some ways it was nice to like have time to rest and not have to like be seeing a lot of people when I felt horrible, but then I never really got my caseload back up to where I wanted it. And honestly, like it's not like I felt amazing through my second trimester, like, but I brought on a few new people, but basically like my finances aren't where I want them to be. I didn't save enough to really be able to pay myself during maternity leave,
Mm-hmm.
which is a bummer, and I feel some like shame about that of like ugh, I really wanted to be like this amazing business owner who could do it all. And my family is in a financial situation where like that's not gonna break us, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, it'd be nice to be getting paid. Like it'll be a little
Yeah.
bit of a strain. Um, so my other business is like not profitable.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy it and would like for it to be profitable, but it's not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think kind of what I'm wanting support with is like thinking through, are there any ways I'm missing on like really reducing business expenses for my therapy practice like during maternity leave, and how to come back strong and be able to like kind of get full
Mm-hmm.
quickly, because I feel like I haven't been in a place to like really go for that since I'm like I felt horrible, and then it's like I'm about to go on maternity leave, so I can't like take on a ton of new clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah. How long are you planning on taking for mat leave?
I'm planning to take 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing you could do is you could send a message to your EHR and ask if there's an option to pause.
Okay. I I will. I like did their little chat bot to ask about
Hmm.
that. They're like, no, but you can drop down to the lower level. I'm with Simple Practice, but
Hmm.
I'll email them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would drop down to that lower level and they've just pissed
Yeah.
everybody off again. So,
I know.
um,
I was like, great, $29 a month. And I'm like, 49.
hmm yeah. So they've just hiked up their prices without
Hmm.
making it clear what people were getting in return. Um,
Yeah.
which, they're allowed to raise their prices. I think their messaging could just be better.
Yeah.
Um, so they might be in a position where they're like, if it means you don't leave, sure.
Hmm.
Um, who knows? It's
Yeah.
worth an ask. It's worth an
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's a good
Um,
idea.
can you sublease your office space?
Yeah. So I am planning to sublease my office space, and it's it's been interesting because, ideally I'd have someone who wants to use it like 5 days a week, pay my full rent.
Hmm.
But also when I return from maternity leave, I'm reducing my hours. I currently work 4 days a week, but I'm planning to work 2.5 days a week.
Hmm.
Um, and so I want someone who would like to stay on through like after my maternity leave. So I'm like trying to find someone who's interested in 2 days or one day. And the person
Mhm.
that I found wants to start like really part-time, but I feel really good about her. And I've
Mhm.
like met with some other people who I didn't feel as good about.
Yeah.
So that I did want to ask about like pricing for a subleaser.
Mhm.
Like I know it's probably different where folks are,
Mhm.
but like wondering what's reasonable because I my rent is $800
Mhm.
and I like broke that down into 5 days and then was like this is how much it would be per day. Like it'd be like 160 for a day.
Mhm.
But the person who's subleasing only plans to use it for like 2 hours a day. So she was like,
Mhm.
could I get like kind of a reduced rate for that? And I was curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Well, one thing is you're forgetting that there are people out there who have agency jobs who would love to work on the weekends. So I think while you and I don't want to work on the weekends,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that you're working 2.5 days and there are only like 2.5 days left.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there are 4.5 days left that
Yeah.
people could use. So I don't know how you feel about multiple subleasers, if maybe like she could take on one day and then somebody could take on the
Yeah.
others. It sounds like more to juggle to me,
Yeah. It
but I
sounds
think like
kind
I
of
might
stressful.
hold out for a better fit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because if it's somebody you want in there for the long term, and like maybe you tell them like you've got access 4.5 days a week, um, just not this day and this day, or this and
Mm-hmm.
this half day. Um, Even if they're only working during the week, there's like they should still be paying at least half your rent. So I would look at it like days per week of that's what I've
Mm-hmm.
usually done with
Not like
subleasing.
hours.
Yeah. I mean, I
Mm.
totally understand where this person's coming from. Like 160
Yeah.
per month when you're doing what, 2, 4, 6, 8 sessions. It's a
Mm-hmm.
pretty big chunk.
Yeah.
And she might just need to find a place that rents hourly.
Yeah.
Because if she's paying less than that, then like it's really not benefiting you.
Yeah, that's true. I feel bad because I feel like I'm a bad negotiator because like when she like said she's only interested in like a couple hours at first, I was like, "Oh, like maybe my rent is kind of high for that." I like was like processing out loud and so then she's like, "Oh, could I pay less?" And I'm like, "Oh, wait.
Mhm.
I can't really afford that."
Yeah. I mean, in some cities, $20 per hour is really great. Like it's very reasonable. And that's because you
Mhm.
said 160, right?
Yeah, would be like one day a week. Oh, so that would be like 20, so over the month, it would be like $20
Hmm.
per
Which is,
hour.
I
Okay.
mean, I think that's reasonable.
And the other thing is, I'm a play therapist, as is she. So
Hmm.
she's looking for a fully stocked playroom,
Oh, wow.
which I
Okay.
have. And
Hmm.
so, um, I don't know if like that's hard to find to just like
Hmm.
be able to rent a fully stocked playroom for a couple hours a week. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
Seems like
if you're
there's,
offering that up, I would say like if you could find somebody for the rest of your like for the days you're not there for $500 a month if your total's eight, because they're using like there's wear and tear, things are gonna get broken, things are gonna get lost.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it like financially makes a lot of sense to find someone who wants to use a fully stocked playroom more days a week.
Mhm.
And I feel like I've already kind of committed to this gal. Like we don't have any sort
Mhm.
of agreement, but I was like, I'm really interested. Like let's move forward. Um,
Could she take that other half day? Like you're the opposite time of you? Could you arrange that with her so that then the other days could be subleased to someone else?
oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's a good idea. And then like Thursday through Sunday could potentially be someone else.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That's an interesting idea. And like the thing is I'm subleasing from someone else. So
Oh.
like I'm in a suite and
Hmm.
so I would kind of need to run past her of like how would you feel about two people?
Hmm.
And she's kind of mentioned like, oh, I'd really like to have someone sublease my space on the days I'm not here. So maybe she'd be open to like multiple people. Uh,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think maybe that's one of the only ways I'll like reduce my expenses when I'm on
Yeah.
maternity leave.
And maybe those people who didn't feel like a great fit for you that you talked to might be a good fit for her.
Maybe, well, not one person, because this one person is also a play therapist and wanted to bring in a lot of her own stuff.
Hmm.
It's like, no, not gonna
Yeah.
work.
We're set up
Um,
here.
yeah, okay. Well, that's definitely something to think on. And
Hmm.
yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I'm like, you know, trying to reduce the EHR costs, and then I dropped like Canva Pro. Like, I don't need
Hmm.
that. Um, but I don't have a ton of other expenses. It's just that
Right.
my rent feels pretty high. I mean, I don't,
Hmm.
depends on where you live, but for me,
Right.
this feels high.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you could drop it by half, it'd be pretty significant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like in my savings, I like just have enough to pay for all the expenses, including things like this summer I'm having to renew my license and my registered play therapy
Of
credential
course, right?
and my website.
Hmm.
So yeah, anyway, those things are like I have to pay for those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Um,
I also want to say, like, you're feeling some shame because you haven't socked away enough to be able to pay yourself during this time.
mhm,
But like you have enough in business savings to cover the expenses.
mhm,
And not everybody has that. And I
mhm,
guarantee you that if you weren't in a financial situation in your family where it wasn't that big a deal, you would
mhm,
have hustled sick and all and gotten what you needed to be able to pay
mhm.
yourself. So
Yeah.
like ultimately you were doing the thing that made the most sense for you given your
Mhm.
circumstances, which is to not push it when you're pregnant because
Yeah.
I don't want any of us to have to push it. Some of us have to, but I don't want any of us
Yeah.
to have to.
Right. And I guess I do have the privilege of not having to have, I didn't have to push myself.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I've definitely been talking in my personal therapy about like the shame around that and like
Hmm.
um what does it mean to be successful as a business owner and what do I want my business to be like? And one thing that I've reflected on is like at the start of my pregnancy, I like used a chunk of my savings, it was like $500 to do this I don't know what to call it, but it was like a career focused session with brain spotting and like human design all
Hmm.
mixed in. So I did a session like that with it. She's a therapist who does it.
Hmm.
Just someone here local in St. Louis. Because I was feeling a lot of just angst about my job and my family and like how to balance those things, like wanting to be with my daughter, but also wanting to work. So it was really helpful, but also I'm like, that should I have spent money on that? And there's kind of this part of me that's like, am I spending my money in the right ways in my business? So I have kind of some like, I don't know, still like doubt in myself, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I just did an intensive on Tuesday as a client
Uh-huh.
that was like very human design based. So
That's so
I'm like,
cool.
I'm like, it was worth it. But I'm not the one
Yeah.
to tell you that you decide.
And I learned so much about myself. So
Yeah.
anyway, but I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that there are insights that you can have in any kind of self-exploration if you had spent that money on therapy. Like, not every therapy session is like,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you had spent that money over a few therapy sessions, however much your therapy usually costs,
Mm-hmm.
you would probably be like, well, yeah, that was money well spent. I got some insights out of that. And some of the
Mm-hmm.
insights probably hit you later.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever came up in the session probably slapped you in the faces like within 24 hours in all the ways. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I think that there's if it's self-development and it's actually developing yourself, then I think it's
Hmm.
good because it
Hmm.
helps ground you and center you and understand yourself better and provide better care to your clients.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it did contribute positively in all those ways. And yeah, I think maybe reframing things of like I could get by with like really kind of minimal income for the past 7 months because of my family savings. But then I'm like, but my partner is stressed about money, even though we'll be like fine enough, and I don't want him to be stressed. And so, yeah, I'm like, I, w- I almost feel like I need to like prove to him that my business is a good decision. And he's
Hmm.
told me many times, like, I really believe in your therapy business. I know it's good. Like, it's good for you. It's been better for our family because you are less stressed. Like, you actually, because I saw less clients, I actually had some energy to like take care of our toddler in the evenings. Whereas during my
Hmm.
first pregnancy, I worked at an agency job and I was basically comatose every evening after,
Hmm.
4 or 5 p.m. So he was like super lonely during my
Yeah.
first pregnancy. Um, so I know he believes in it, but I still feel this need to like prove that I can be a financial provider in a similar way that he is.
Hmm.
But also, I take care of our 3-year-old one day a week. He doesn't do
Right.
that. And I'll be
Yeah.
taking care of our baby 2.5 days a week. So it's like,
Hmm.
I don't know why I'm trying to compare apples and oranges.
Yeah. And like you've been creating life inside your body.
Yeah.
That takes a
Yeah.
lot. It takes a
Hmm.
lot of energy. It's not something he can do. In the
Yeah.
same way that like right now you can't contribute the same amount financially.
Hmm.
Like both of
Yeah.
you have things you can't do and things you can.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
like that can be great.
Yeah. But I guess I'm just struggling to like accept that
Hmm.
that's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It was a choice. You could blow his income out of the water if you wanted to grind, right? Like if you wanted to just like work your ass off and like
Hmm.
spend time with your family
Yeah.
and raise your
Yeah.
rates to whatever would make that necessary to,
Hmm.
for the math, like you could
Hmm.
do that.
Hmm.
But it's not the choice you've made, and that was intentional. It's not the
Yeah.
choice that you guys
Yeah.
made for your future and for your life right now.
Hmm. That's true. And I think part of why I wanted to start my online business, my second business, is because I realized I like seeing a smaller amount of people during the week. Like I like having a smaller caseload.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of segues into like returning from maternity leave because I'm like I like want to be intentional about getting the amount of clients I want. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, am I being realistic here that I would be working 2.5 days a week and I'd like to have 8 clients.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's totally doable, like I think,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of hours. Um, Even if I'm like pumping and stuff, I think it's possible. One of, and I know you're gonna say like it's still possible, but one of the challenges is just like working with kids. The like 4 p.m. slot is really popular. So I like work 4 days a week. And right now, some days I only have like 1 or 2 kids a day, and they're in
Mm-hmm.
that like 4 p.m. slot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm like, yeah, how am I going to fill those daytime slots?
Mm-hmm. Are you in with the homeschool community at all?
Not really. I've tried a little bit. I have one homeschool kid, but they are not in any kind of co-op.
Mm-hmm.
And I also am like, I don't know if it's appropriate to be like, can I connect with your people?
Right, right, right.
So my homeschool kid comes in the daytime, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she'll return. I think and that's the other thing. I think I have like 4 to maybe 6 kids who will return.
Yeah. So you're in a great position because you also don't have to be full immediately.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And
Why
I think
not?
if you like if you could reach out to the co-ops, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe do some research at the latter end of your maternity leave if you're just bored and scrolling on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Find out what the co-ops are and like think about what you could teach them.
Mm-hmm.
It would be helpful.
And
You could,
offer to do like a workshop type
yeah,
thing. Okay.
and like teach the kids a skill they need, like an emotion regulation
Yeah.
workshop,
Yeah.
something like that. That
Yeah.
like send them home with some like papers that are fun and explain what you did and
Yeah.
make sure it's
Yeah.
letterhead and all that.
Yeah. Okay. That's a cool idea. Yeah. I was listening to one of your podcasts with someone planning for maternity leave, and I think you said like 2 weeks before you return, also like
Hmm.
send out emails to be like, hey, I'll be back. And so I'll be returning in August, and I tend to send all of my like school contact folks, like school counselors, like a letter at the start of the year. Sometimes I include like a Starbucks gift card,
Hmm.
um, just being like, hey, I'm like, thanks for having me on your referral list. Hope you have a like great start to the year. Is there like a more effective way to do that you've heard of?
I mean, I think if you have relationships with them, then that's good.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a cold letter or cold email, then it's less effective, but it doesn't mean it's not effective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you could say like, I'm back from maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
I timed it like a teacher, like you can, and do the whole like, I hope you have a great school year. If you have any kiddos that are struggling with X, Y, and Z,
Mm-hmm.
that would be a good fit. I have a couple spots available
Mm-hmm.
as I come back.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and some of them I do have a bit of a relationship with,
Hmm.
and they have referred to me, but I don't I'm not like friends with any of them, and I don't like get coffee with them once a year. It's like I met them once and then just kind of stay in contact via email or
Hmm.
notes. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Are there other things I can do to set myself up for success when I get back?
I think making sure that the parents are really informed about what your plan is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure you've told them, of course, but like being more explicit than you think you need to be.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, you know what it's like as a parent, like we've got a million things going on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. The the interesting thing about my caseload is that three of the people on my caseload I've seen for like 1 to 2 years. So
Hmm.
I have a good relationship with their parents, and um th I think all of them have mentioned they like want to come back.
Hmm.
Um so that feels good, but it is kind of some of the newer people that I'm like, will it kind of be like, oh, just Rachel's gone, we'll just kind of fade out. And like if they don't need it, that's fine. But I guess that makes
Hmm.
sense to be pretty clear. So like informing them would be like, I'm going on maternity leave between April 1st and end of July. I'll email you like 2 weeks before
Hmm.
I return to check in and see if you
Yeah.
want to.
I wouldn't even say to see if you want to. Like, let's not plant that seed. But
Okay.
like I'll reach out 2 weeks before,
Mm-hmm.
um, so that we can get you in the time that works best for your family.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Another aspect of all of this is that I don't know if I'm delusional, but I'm like thinking I'll still have time to run my online business as well, which
Hmm.
is like posting on Instagram daily, which you know is a lot of work.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm like, is that gonna be possible? Because currently I'm seeing like 6 clients a week. So I have like
Hmm.
tons of time to work on the online business. And so I'm like, am I, is this gonna work?
Okay. I want to reframe that Instagram as a ton of work.
Okay,
The
okay.
scrolling takes a ton of time when we get sucked into it, right? But the creating the content, I want you to like maybe we don't have time to, but like I want you to consider like what is the easiest version that's also
Mm-hmm,
impactful.
mm-hmm,
Um, and you've been creating content for a while too. So like all my friends who are big content creators, like hundreds of thousands of followers,
mm-hmm.
they rotate the same content, like well, 90% of the same content every 90 days.
Yeah. And
So
that's a good point. I have gotten a lot faster at it and have like a clearer vision of like what I want to share and how to share it. Um, yeah, that's a helpful
yeah.
reframe. Rotate stuff as well.
Yeah. And you can schedule those using one of those online schedulers, or you can schedule right in Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but just doing what you can to look at it as easy and then
Mm-hmm.
let it be easy.
Yeah.
You can reuse captions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, time will tell if it's the online business. I'm giving myself like to the end of 2025 to see if it's profitable and
Hmm.
worth investing in this, in this the way I am now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But that helps me definitely have a idea of how to keep at it when I'm like have 2 kids and am still seeing therapy clients.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Sounds good. Yay.
Thanks.
Of
Yeah.
course. It's so good to see you. And
Yeah,
please,
you
like,
too.
keep us updated in the Facebook group about how things are
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. And maybe I'll pop into the like office hours one of these
Yeah.
times. Do miss that space.
Yeah,
Always
absolutely.
such a great atmosphere.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And have fun with all those little good smelling baby snuggles.
Thanks. I know. I'm excited. I'm excited. Thanks, Allison.
Absolutely. I'll see you later.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.